The choice between the wedding and the throne. In the ancient kingdom of Arendor, where golden towers touched the clouds and rivers shimmered like silver ribbons, a young prince named Adrian faced the greatest decision of his life. Prince Adrian was loved by his people. He was brave in battle, kind to the poor, and wise beyond his years. Yet his heart belonged not to power or glory, but to a humble woman named Elara. Elara was the daughter of a village healer. She possessed no noble title, no wealth, and no royal blood. What she had was a heart full of compassion and a spirit that made Adrian feel alive whenever she was near. For 5 years they loved each other in secret. One spring morning, King Aldric, Adrian's aging father, fell gravely ill. The royal physicians gathered around his bed and delivered terrible news. "Your Majesty has little time left," they said. The kingdom prepared for a new king. According to ancient law, Adrian could inherit the throne only if he married Princess Victoria of the neighboring kingdom before his coronation. The marriage would unite 2 powerful nations and secure peace for generations. If he refused, the throne would pass to his ambitious cousin, Prince Magnus. The royal council urged Adrian to obey. "The future of the kingdom depends on this marriage," said the chancellor. "The people need you as their king," added the generals. But Adrian's heart belonged to Elara. Days later, he rode to the countryside and found her tending flowers beside her father's cottage. "The council has given me a choice," he said sadly. Elara looked into his eyes and already knew. The throne or our wedding? Adrian nodded. For a long moment, neither spoke. "I can abandon the throne," Adrian whispered. "We can leave this kingdom and build a simple life together." Tears filled Elara's eyes. "You would give up everything?" "I would give up the world for you." But Elara shook her head. "You were born to serve your people. Thousands depend on your leadership. If you walk away, the kingdom may fall into the hands of someone who seeks power rather than justice." Adrian felt his heart breaking. "What good is a crown if I lose the woman I love?" Elara smiled through her tears. "What good is love if it asks you to abandon your destiny?" The wedding day approached. Throughout the kingdom, church bells rang and banners decorated every street. Yet Adrian felt no joy. The night before the ceremony, he stood alone in the royal chapel. He stared at the crown resting upon the altar. For the first time in his life, he wished he had never been born a prince. Suddenly, the chapel doors opened. Elara entered. She wore a simple white dress, not a wedding gown, a farewell dress. "I came to give you my answer," she said softly. Adrian stepped toward her. "Then tell me." Elara took his hands. "Choose the throne." The word struck him like an arrow. "No." "Yes. I choose you. And I choose the kingdom." Tears rolled down both their faces. "You once told me that a true king sacrifices for his people," Elara said. "Now it is my turn to sacrifice for mine." The next morning, Prince Adrian married Princess Victoria and was crowned King Adrian I. The kingdom celebrated. But behind the royal smile was a heart carrying an invisible wound. Years passed. Under Adrian's rule, Arendor prospered. There were no wars, no famine, and justice flourished throughout the land. Yet he never forgot Elara. One autumn evening, nearly 20 years later, King Adrian disguised himself and visited the village where she had once lived. There he found a school. Children laughed and played beneath oak trees. At the entrance stood a bronze statue. It was Elara, an elderly teacher explained. "Lady Elara devoted her life to educating poor children. She never married. She spent her years helping others." The king stood silently. "What happened to her?" he asked. The teacher smiled sadly. "She passed away last winter." Adrian lowered his head. The woman he had loved was gone. The teacher pointed to words engraved beneath the statue. "The greatest love is not the one that possesses, but the one that sacrifices. Tears filled the king's eyes. Only then did he fully understand. Elara had not chosen against love. She had chosen a greater form of it. That evening, King Adrian returned to his palace and ordered that a grand memorial be built in her honor. History remembered him as one of the greatest kings Arandor ever had. But whenever people praised his wisdom, Adrian would quietly look toward the horizon and think of the woman who had taught him the hardest lesson of all. Sometimes the choice between the wedding and the throne is not about choosing power over love. It is about choosing sacrifice for the sake of others, and that choice can change a kingdom forever.